So this happened to me when I was 12 years old. I was studying in 6th class then. Here we get 2 months of summer holidays. I was chubby and fat in my childhood, so that year in my holidays, my mom decided to send me to Arabics classes to a fitness center. The fitness center was near to my house, just 5 to 6 minute walking distance. I used to leave for my classes at 6 p.m. and come back at 7:15 p.m. I had no bicycle then, so I used to walk to the fitness center. So it was near the end of my summer holidays. That particular day, I left my classes near 7:30 p.m. as our trainer had went somewhere urgently and came late to take our class. When I left for my classes, it was already dark. The suburb where I lived is not lonely, and I have never felt afraid, however, in that path to my house. But there is an area which I have to cross that remains eerily silent, especially after dark. When I was just about to enter that area that day, I heard a car coming from behind with some English songs playing at a very loud volume. I was walking in the center, so I moved to the side to let the car pass. However, the car stopped beside me. I looked at the car thinking they might be looking for a particular address, so they stopped to ask me. It did happen a couple of times with me, so I just assumed that. The car was red. The windows in the car were black. The person on the driver's side lowered their window just enough so I could see the interior of the car. I didn't see the driver's face. He turned towards the person in the back and said to him, "Pick him up." I was just about to enter the locality and was standing at a crossroad. As soon as I heard this, I rushed towards the house nearby at the start of the locality. Luckily, the main gate was not locked and I entered inside. There was some delay from the person at the back in coming out of the car, and that delay perhaps saved my life that day. The car came towards and stopped in front of the house in which I had entered. I shouted at them, "Who are you?" and ran to the front door and started banging at the front door and started shouting, "Someone help me!" Since the main gate was unlocked, they probably thought that the owners were inside, and they drove away. I sighed and took a deep breath of relief. But still, I was trembling with fear and had no courage to leave that house. What if those people were waiting somewhere in the path for me to come? I sat there on the floor just after 5 minutes. The auntie who lived in that house came. She had just come back from grocery shopping from a nearby shop. I was crying and told her the entire incident. She took me inside and gave me a glass of water, and after that she went with me and dropped me to my house. My mother thanked her, and she was also very worried and was about to leave the house in search of me if I hadn't come back in 2 to 3 minutes. Since I neither saw the man's face nor took notice of the plate number of the car, we didn't call the police. I just knew that the car was red. However, the twist in the story comes after 1 year. A boy in our city studying in 2nd class was kidnapped, and his dead body was later found in the canal of a nearby village. And guess what? The vehicle in which he was kidnapped in was also a red color. He was kidnapped from a park by luring him to give chocolates. Coincident or not, he and I belonged in the same school, and the kidnapper who kidnapped and murdered that boy was also a passout from our school, who wasted all his money. He got inheritance after his father's death, had taken money from local gangsters to fulfill his needs of living a super rich life. I was looking for a means to pay back the money to them as he was getting death threats for not paying money back on time. I'm not sure whether the person who came to kidnap me and who kidnapped that boy were the same or not, but I'm pretty sure if that day the person at the back would not have been delayed, I wouldn't be here writing this. I thank God every day for saving me. When 2 of my friends and I were juniors at SUNY Purchase College back in 2018, we decided to sneak in Playland Park in Rye, New York. One of my friends grew up in this place and had done it many times before, so while I was nervous about getting arrested for trespassing, I felt a bit reassured that the park wasn't very well monitored at night. At around 1 a.m. we drove and parked our car next to a large fence and attempted to scale it. It was rather difficult and required us to step on each other's hands to get over, which gave me intense anxiety about how we were planning to get all 3 of us back over the fence on the way out. After both my friends got over the fence, I attempted to chicken out and wait in the car, but finally decided to join, and after several minutes of struggling, I made it over the fence on my own, and we began walking while lighting up the place. It was pitch black at this point, and almost all the lights in the park were off. We approached the water flume ride, which went up about 100 to 150 feet up, and then dropped to a steep slope. Along the side of the ride was a staircase for technicians and employees, which my friends decided to climb for a better view. At this point, I actually chickened out and decided to stay at the bottom because of fear of heights. As they ascended the stairs, I looked out across the park. I noticed something very strange. We weren't alone in the park. Several hundred feet from us was a pond with what appeared to be a small boat or raft inside, and 4 or so people riding inside it with flashlights attached to their head. What was even stranger was the fact that there were 2 dark figures swimming in the pond looking for something underneath the water. I could barely make out the silhouettes of these figures, but after a few minutes, I noticed that they could be seeing us and began mobilizing the boat in our direction. I frantically started whisper screaming to my friends who were all the way up at the top of the ride, who could barely hear me. At this point, the boat had reached the land, and the little lights on their helmets were heading in our direction fast. My friends finally raced down the stairs, and we began sprinting as fast as we could down a boardwalk that was dimly lit, and back towards the way we came. As we sprinted down the long, straight boardwalk, I realized that we were completely visible and started to accept the reality of being caught or arrested. We somehow rounded a corner and got back to the fence and climbed over safely, hopping into our car and dipping immediately. I couldn't believe we didn't get caught, as the figures chasing after us were no more than a few feet away when they spotted us. To this day, I still wonder why the heck there were people swimming around a pond in an amusement park at 1:30 in the morning. My friend had told me that kids had drowned in that pond before, making me wonder if they were searching for a body. I googled any articles if I could find, but no avail. Me and my 2 friends are still totally puzzled by this experience, and can't think of a very logical explanation. Just thinking about it now gives me chills.